Yeah, so I'm one of those people that are like, I like the 9 out of 10 can always improve, and I'm a big fan of like this 6 to 8 zone, you know, because it's realistically what most things in life are: food taste, how they play in professional League of Siege, how games are on release dates, etc. That's where most people they end up at. For Lowe's, however, they were not a 6 to 8 team in their first match against NIP. They were quite literally a 0 out of 7 because they went 0-7 in terms of round score, whereas Black Dragons, they slaughtered their opponent in the Choose Miners 7-0. So unless one of these two teams, or I guess in this case both, if Black Dragons go 7-0, repeats that same scoreline, one team or both are going to come out better or worse in this matchup.
A low bar. Oh, hold on a second here. I understand it's Skyscraper, and I understand that Bandit is a strong operator on 2 separate bomb sites. Geisha, which is a very important part of this map, is very easy to be offended by a Kaid or a Bandit, but more importantly and more recently, we've been seeing an awful lot of value from Bandit on that single panel office wall at the top of those lobby stairs. Teams have really struggled to open that up. Bandit providing incredible value in that spot. Doesn't really surprise me to see him get removed.
No, I quite like it. I mean, for most maps, you look at the operator ban phase and you go, okay, what kind of wall deny do you want to ban? And it's normally always the Kaid. And then, like, if people ban the Thatcher, you had to ban the Kaid, yada yada. But on Skyscraper, as you mentioned, it is one of those few maps where Bandit triggering actively on a wall is a much bigger issue to deal with than the Kaid or Mute, or I guess gadgets being placed on passively, not triggering necessarily, especially because Thatcher is open. So Kaid's not a problem here. Sure, you have to bring the Thatcher and you lose, one operator because you have to bring out those EMPs, because secondary EMPs just don't have big enough radius to deal with the Kaid claws, but you're trading 1-for-1. Defense brings the Kaid, attack pits the Thatcher, and all of a sudden, both operators don't really matter because they nullify each other. So no one's really winning out, and you guarantee the wall getting opened up. What's also open, which is quite rare to see, is both the Monty as well as the Ying. So if attackers they want to go really explosive and just get crazy with it, they have those operators available to them. We see Ask on the Monty in round number 1. No Ying, however, because again, you're stretched a little bit thin as you want to run the Thatcher, and their second flex operator will be the Lion instead.
Just further to your point about the Bandit, yeah, you can juggle with the Electric Claws, though they are significantly slower, but you cannot juggle with Mute. Even if you put down a Mute Jammer a nanosecond after a device goes off, a Selma, Thermite Charge, etc., you're not going to stop it the same way that an Electric Claw will destroy it, or the same way that a Bandit Battery will also destroy it. Anyway. Office very first defense. Sorry? Go ahead. Go ahead,
You are
Nick.
correct.
Go
You are 10 out of 10 accurately correct on that one.
No room for improvement.
Oh, you did
Thank
it.
you.
You have swayed my mind perfectly.
Thank you. It's the only reason why I'm here. One of the most banned operators in the world right now, across all regions, is Montaigne, but it's a little intriguing to see Monty escape the bans in Brazil. Why? Well, it's because a lot of teams really like using him. You'd think in that regard, the odd team that doesn't like using him would ban him out. Maybe reduce the potency of a Monty against you. Black Dragons will run with the Montaigne right off the rip. He'll have access to the diffuser as well. You have to get Ask into that position so that he can actually get it down. Halfway through the round and already working against the walls, the castle barricades will be the next obstacle for Black Dragons.
Looks like Black Dragons are gonna hit both sides here on the primary breach downstairs as well as in the Geisha area. We saw Patoxy online kind of creeping about for a flank possibly here. And the big eyes are going to be, where is Monty going to be going from? Because he's usually going to be the entry, if you will. First man in the building, get some intel and try and get his teammates behind him to make a play off of that shield. And they right there, that's the play, but they got shut down immediately.
Maya's the first line of defense, and it holds, but Live picks up 2. Walking in, escorted by the Montaigne. Loban is down. Dots, Dash, 2v3. Toxie, a bit of a mental lag in that engagement, with Dash winning the fight. That's quite embarrassing for Black Dragons. They're just going to keep fighting this castle all the while. Off-site, Dots dies as well. Close. Winning round number 1. BD, rather, winning round number 1. I had the colors mixed up.
Yeah, let's go.
Mentally, I'm just so used to orange always being defense that when you get rid of the tags, mentally I just default to, I'm like, oh, yes.
I ran into 2 problems with that, right? Because on the notepad that I have, the right side of where I take notes is blue, left is orange. Orange normally defense, but also blue is left in game and it's right on my notes. So like it's triple backwards for me. I'm not sure if your notes are the same or not. Maybe you're lucky there that your colors align. But yeah, very easy to get it twisted. If you look at that previous round and just how much easier Monty makes your life in that scenario, the wall is open to the exterior of the map. Monty just walks straight past it, brute forces it. Teammate rappels in behind him, Lion Charge goes out, and BD just brute force everything in like 1 or 2 rooms across the map. That's it. Very limited direct attack. It's what Monty gives you. It's what the Ying gives you as well. So no surprise. On the second round right now, the attack RV picks are happening. They show us both the Monty and the Ying. Of course, gonna showcase the Ace as well in case there's a wall they want to get breached that is going to be reinforced for them. But again, I would not be surprised if we see either Monty, Ying, or both almost every single attack and round, because there really is no reason not to bring them as long as you're efficient at playing those operators, and we know Black Dragons, they are.
Zombie's been taking up so many of these defender bands that you see Fenrir and Solus running amok more often than not. An operator that was shown in our very first matchup just about 20-30 minutes ago. Curious to see the way that Loben approaches it on this map. Given that it is a karaoke and T defense, I'd imagine that we're going to see the Solus probably roam on that first floor for most of the round. In terms of drones, Black Dragons have lost exactly half, so imagine that the culprit as to why those drones have been lost is Loben on the Solus. A lot of information can be taken away by getting rid of really the best tool and gadget that most attacking operators have.
But then what? You get some drones, you slow down the attack, but just you wait. When that Ying and Monty gets online, what is Solus going to do? Sure, if you're downstairs, you can't deny the plan with the impact grenades, but right now it's up to Dots and Smoke to make something happen here against the Monty of Ask, and you see he'll stall for the time, do a little bit of a tickling amount of damage here, but Dots will be stuck on this staircase position for the remainder of the round, or until he meets the grave.
Dash wants to take the engagement as those gas canisters just continue to chip away at the HP of Ask. 2 have been used by Dots, and all it's done is about a quarter of the HP away from Ask. There goes the last one, and he breathes in a little bit more of the gas, but Ask is still very much upright. Not much you can do as the Monty. Nitro Cell goes out, kills Ask as he tries to protect Patoxy. Can't get it done. Dash 2 kills before getting punished by Loira. Dots also on the board. Los doubling up on numbers over Black Dragons. Maya ensures that their numbers don't get any closer. Live, who's miles away from the bomb site, outside of the buildings, the last one standing, to engage with that Solus of Loben, losing it out. And now I can officially say that Los gets on the board.
First round in stage 2, baby. They did it, and they did it in good fashion as well. They really played their cards correctly. They had reinforced the wall from karaoke in towards the hallway, allowing Dash to play in that very important position to throw out the C4 and get the second kill as well. And honestly, Ask made a slight misplay there, a bit of a blunder, but, well, is it his mistake? It's hard to say. When you're playing the Monty, you have a bit of an obscured vision because your shield covers. There's certain like dead zones essentially on the side. He thought the C4 was aimed for the wall behind him. So if he walked to the right, he dashed the C4. He tried to walk back out the doorway to survive that C4, but guess what? The C4 wasn't aimed for him. It was aimed to go through the toxic bait that Smoke tossed out earlier and hit the teammate behind him. Dash then kills someone with the C4 and the line afterwards with a bullet, so he gets 2 for the price of 1 essentially. And the issue really became for Black Dragons that they couldn't brute force that door, at least not yet. The Toxic Babes, they're gonna stall for 30-40 seconds time, and, well, the last one went out as the Monty died. Ying never got enabled, couldn't repel it in the window, so they're completely locked out. And Los, it can be scary for them to just sit there and be like, okay guys, when we're running out Toxic Babes, we are absolutely dead in this position. Dash was in a tough spot, but honestly, he played it great. Played it patiently, despite being pressured from the very beginning of that round. And Black Dragons with that, they're off the Monty, but they still keep the Ying.
If you're bringing a Monty, there's a pretty good chance that most of your execute is going to focus around playing that Monty into a certain position. So yeah, losing it early is a damning blow. Perfectly summarizes the previous round. We are seeing something unusual now as we look towards round number 3. A bomb site that is almost never ever played in any region. Bedroom of Skyscraper is currently on the board.
There is one region where it gets played a little bit, but I mean very little bit. It is in Brazil. That one was called LATAM, and it was actually FaZe, I believe, who used to play this bomb site. I think they played it twice in like 1 or 2 stages, so again, very little play. But this is the region to do it, if any. Got the yellow ping onto Maya. The read is not there for him. He gets shot down by Stemp instead. That's a great opening kill and a second to fall. I mean, that right there, that's gonna put Black Dragons on the map in this round. They have full map control besides the bomb site and one area above. This round will be a lot easier for them. Boys, Ying still in play, 2 smokes in pocket as well. They got tons of time and utility to work with.
Surgical precision from Stemp on that entry. Doesn't even suffer a scratch from anybody on Los. Just down he goes. Once Dot's looking for another kill, maybe. Try and keep these numbers closer. Ask is not in the building. You hear the Candelas go off. One's been tossed out by Patoxy. Stemp is still roaming. Now over by Kegs. Through reception and towards lobby. Has an angle on the door. Hoping that somebody will take that bait. And indeed they do, but can't capitalize on it. There's an explosion above Stemp's head. Now it's Nade to go onto the stairs. Cameraman, good as gone. Cameraman did not have a single kill in the previous matchup that we watched with them, and well, he's still looking for one today. Trying to prevent a flawless round will be Dash. Sees the legs, but zooms out at the wrong second. There's the diffuser planted by Ask. No urgency whatsoever from Dash. I think he realizes what's at stake and the likelihood of him winning the round. Seemed like it was certainly nil. Loira ensures it is, in fact, 0. Flawless round by the attackers. They get the diffuser down. Excellently done. Black Dragons up 2-1.
I really think Black Dragons is so good at kind of riding the momentum in the round in terms of pace. When they get that first opening kill, Los, they only have one answer. That's to try and trade it back to a 4 versus 4. It's why we saw that second member swing when Maya died early in that round. But you're gambling a lot here, right? Because if both members lose their individual gunfight, you're playing 3 versus 5. That's exactly what happened in the round. And Black Dragons, they are so good at just getting in, getting that initial pick, and then really tone it down. Because they recognized just how big of an advantage that they were in. They didn't take any risks. They started droning, and we saw multiple members start to kind of get into that aggressive position near the bomb site walls, and then recognize, oh, not everyone's ready yet. Jump back out the window, walk back into lobby. Don't take these confrontations. And we saw Stemp do such a great job at decision making. He finds the first 2 entries due to drone work from his teammate. And then when he was in lobby/reception near the bomb site, he peels off the angle with a grenade to not only save himself if somebody were to swing him, but also stops the defenders from pushing into him and his teammate. So just great decision making there. Understand that fine line in the map where, okay, now it's time to get really crazy with it, and now it's time to just take a chill back and like let the clock do its thing, apply pressure onto the defenders, because you saw Los, you are very restless inside the bomb site, constantly moving, nowhere was safe for them. And Black Dragons will keep changing the pace around here. I really like the Finka in today's meta. I think Finka could make a slight return here. You know, the Leash Mine is doing instant damage nowadays. You know, Impact Grenade, C-Force, kind of tickling you down. And when you pair the Muncie with the Finka as well, it's such a great combination. Because Muncie will naturally take a bunch of damage throughout a round for those exact reasons. And Finka can heal it right back up.
Finka, Monty, and the Amaru. Gives you a lot of options as to how you want to approach this bomb site. Back over to Office, they will go on defense. It's the second time that Los try to hold this point. Try being the key word. They were unsuccessful the very first attempt. Karaoke T, the only win so far for Los out of these bomb sites. It's been odd that they'll forego kitchen, but the conversation for another day. Stemp has been the one playing these flex rolls. He's the one on the think at the moment.
No, you're right. It's surprising because he's also the injured player in most of these rounds so far, so as in their previous games. So he does a lot for his team. And I guess I'm curious as to what happens when Stemp doesn't just walk in the door and kill like 2 or 3 players, because who's going to realistically take that position up? Well, for this round, it might be the Muncie, but it'll be with Stemp not on the board any longer because he gets shut down as the opening death for his team. And these are the angles that we worry about, right? Deployable shields, long lines of sight, attackers unable to break through. Toxic surely doesn't just fly up this hatch, right? There's no follow-up, there's no setup really here. It's just the Muncie outside the breach and the Amaru down below. Risky.
Entertaining. Might be a risk,
give it to us.
Just waiting for the call. And yep, you're absolutely correct. In he goes. Patoxy is up. There's nobody actually in the A bomb site whatsoever, but Patoxy is out-dueled by Dots, who does double duty on Noloira as well. Live and Ask are the last 2, so you have to try and escort the Monty into a safe position. Several players from Los. Over by Garden, over by Terrace. Get information. Ask sees one. There's another player over what appears to be by Drum. Live follow-up. No, looks the wrong way. Cameraman finally gets on the board. Yay!
He did it!
He did it! Back and forth, these 2 teams go 2-2.
Comes down to the injuries as always in Skyscraper. It's so hard to really like problem solve this map. I mean, okay, you can argue that Black Dragons could go downstairs with grenades, try and find some vertical value there, but most members of Lowe's are not on the bomb site itself. They're playing out of Garden, they're playing out of Dragon, and just kind of shutting them out from those long angles far and far away. They have the exterior bomb site wall opened up, as well as the bar wall with a deployable shield. So again, the nades won't do a lot from downstairs in that position due to how well the bomb site's constructed from Lowe's. Of course, if Stemp falls early, Black Dragons kind of struggle. We've seen that twice now in both of their losses. And I like the Amaru play. It actually, like, they got into a strong position, but Loira actually jumped into a frost mat on the bomb set window itself as Thatcher, and that was the big pain point, because all of a sudden the Amaru of Patoxy is completely alone, and he lost the individual gunfight. That's just unfortunate, right? If Thatcher was in, arguably Amaru could plant, or you swing 2 versus 1, and that round could have played out very differently because Monty was there covering 2 or 3 members on the Garden side with Ace behind him. It could have been a great strat, but a single frost mat stopped it before it could even start.
Stemp on Hibana this time as a Nook emerges on the board. And a Clash too. There'll be a lot to dig into as this round continues to go on. Karaoke NT yet again. What do you think it is that's preventing Los from going downstairs to Barbecue Kitchen?
I am curious about that as well. Going to bedroom over the Barbecue Kitchen bomb site is statistically not like what teams typically do. But maybe they just struggle with vertical play. You know, we haven't seen them play a ton of Valkyrie. And if you want to play that vertical line with the bomb site below you, you want to have intel. So it could be an operator style choice, a play style choice from Lowe's, or perhaps they got some intel on Black Dragons as to what they think that they aren't as pro-efficient at attacking against bomb site wise. Of course, Lowe's, they got their own adaptations here. I like the Clash, you know, with how I want to say like how simple Skyscraper is. Like attackers don't have that many ways to attack you from. Sticking a Clash on one of those 2 avenues is just like a, yeah, have fun dealing with me in this position. Because it's very hard to deal with a Clash. Don't have the capital right on this round. You have 4 grenades. But again, you gotta nade the Clash straight on because vertical play is not really an option here on this bomb side.
Grenades and EMPs are really all that Black Dragons have to tackle the Clash. With Zofia not being an operator seen all the time, well, lost probably your best tool. Capitao also works as a good counter, as does Kali. But again, you need that follow-up. And Capitao and Kali are very far from being meta operators, though there are times where we see a Capitao emerge. Zofia's pick rate is basically non-existent for most regions at this point. Just means that you have to play around the Clash, which is the whole point of having the Clash in the first place. You want to force the attackers to play around your rhythm. One grenade goes off to deal some damage to Dash on that operator that we were just speaking of, but it's not enough. Instead, Lawyer will stay inside a drum waiting for the next opportunity. Now it's Maya taking some damage. Same spot on the stairs. Metoxy down below, punishing Loban. Well, Maya that was roaming is no more. Now the clash, once over by the drum door, now inside a Geisha. Two separate players to deal with Dash. And this is just about surviving at this point, Nick. Los have lost 2, Black Dragons lost 1. There goes the clash of Dash, Cameraman, and Dots. All that Los has remaining. And boy, oh boy, Dots gets pulverized by Stemp. Cameraman fighting inside of the B-bomb site, taking Stemp down, shotgun out, prepared for the next fight. Looks the wrong way and live finishes that one. These two teams cannot shake each other. Black Dragons win their 3rd round. They regain the lead.
Clash seemingly not a big problem for Black Dragons, and I do think they played a bit far back. I mean, playing inside of Geisha, you are vulnerable to grenades, the window jump in the breach, the crosshairs there from the attackers. I think they could have fought, harder for, the dragon statue area, the drum area as well, because the second Iana just kind of walked into drum, Clash just said, bye-bye, I'm giving it up. And the amount of pressure that Black Dragons applied to Clash as an operator was a single grenade. It did about 20 or 30 damage worth of the health bar. It's not a whole lot. I do think there is a world in which if you, just like you compare the Fink and the Munty, having a Thunderbird or a Doc paired with the Clash, it just gives you like near infinite amount of I'm gonna be annoying in your face type vibes, because you're allowed to make a mistake now and take a ton of damage as long as you don't die, of course. Similarly to how when you play Fink and Munty, Munty can take a little bit more damage if he needs to just apply more pressure, get some more value out of that gadgetry, and then get healed up afterwards. But of course, when you're defending on Skyscraper, you're gonna want a lot of different operators. It's hard to fit a Doc or Thunderbird in the lineup, and frankly, ever since Doc got buffed to the point where he can fully heal anybody to full health with a single Doc stim, we have not seen Thunderbird played whatsoever since, essentially. Very low pick rate across all regions on Thunderbird.
I think the idea with Thunderbird and Doc's changes were to try and make them viable, but for different roles, and ultimately all it did was just, very similar to Sledge and Buck, make one objectively better in their role than the other.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sledge-Buck debate is a very good one. I mean, in a lot of ways, Buck ought to be superior because of the Skeleton Keys application being more than just straight down, like Sledge's hammer is. But you remove Buck's grenades and suddenly Sledge is everywhere. Buck hasn't really played all that much except for the odd vertical sight. So you make Sledge a 3 armor. Suddenly Buck is showing up everywhere again.
Yeah.
I think we finally reached a point where there's actually options for both of them, and I like that. It's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, secondary hard breach on Buck and then soft destruction on Sledge with the grenades is a great balance, but it took a while, right? Like, Buck needed a gun 6, secondary hard breach, and Sledge needed to lose SMG 11, and of course become a one-speed operator rather. So it's a fine-tuned balance between multiple operators. In this case, just Buck and Sledge. But then try and balance other operators, right? You change Bandit, you impact Mute, Kaid, and Hard Breachers all at the same time. It is so difficult to find that fine balance in Siege because of how delicate the game is and how many different interactions you have with gadgets.
Stemp played a different operator every single time now. Now he's on Thatcher.
Oh yeah, around the world.
The ultimate flex man. This is an entry over towards Drum. And you have to be a little bit concerned with Dash's position. Cameraman continuing to heat up through this match. 3rd kill as Live falls. 9 and 3 for Live. The exact same as the rest of the team combined. That's impressive. I mean, Ask doesn't have a kill yet, to be fair, but...
That's the Munty life, right?
Yeah.
You walk in with your shield extended and you die. Unlucky. 3 rounds for him. Now he's on 3rd by duty, right? Unsexy roll. Flashbang goes down. Try and plant. Maybe die trying. Team maybe wins. That's the job of a planting support player. It's hard.
Loban waiting so patiently. Final 20 seconds. You wouldn't think that there was this level of urgency, but With 9 players still alive in the lobby, Ask has diffuser. Not down. Oh my goodness. Loban is there to end it. Advantage still favoring Black Dragons, but they need to find 2 kills or retrieve that diffuser and get the plant down. The clock is their biggest issue at the moment. Dash with the kill from above gives Los the round. A bit of sloppiness from Black Dragons will ultimately cost them. And a relatively anticlimactic end. Not just that 6th round, but also the first half. 3-3 being the scoreline between these teams. As we say, no closer to a conclusion than when we started.
This is a classic example of a very tiny mistake that actually happens quite commonly in Siege Pro play, and I have been on a team as well where we make the same mistake. When you have the control above the bomb site, so Geisha in this case, above Kitchen, and everybody who's in Geisha drops below and nobody's actually holding onto Geisha itself for the hatch retake, you basically lose. If the defenders retake Geisha, they get control of the bomb site, which is where you're planting. And Loban was never cleared on the roam. He was hiding in T-room the entire time, the current A bomb site. He wasn't even droned out. So, Thermite flashbangs the hatch, he drops down, but guess what? That means nobody is going to be inside of Geisha because his other teammates had already gone elsewhere down the staircases. So, time becomes an issue, and the map control you fought so hard for also becomes an issue. I was playing in G2 on the old console before the rework, and it was a lobby attack. We're in meeting, right? We take the full roam clear, we're chilling. We all drop the meeting hatch. It's like a 4 versus 1 or 4 versus 2. Joystick on good old Empire sprints up the yellow staircase back into meeting that we just dropped the hatch from. Kills me while I plant. Timers on 0. We lose the round. That's exactly what I saw happen in that round. A great read from Loban on the retake. And a big mistake from Black Dragons. Just a big oversight, essentially.
Teams dead even on these entry kills. Objective play for Black Dragons was present, though not particularly strong. All 4 bomb sites played as that 6th and final round. Went to Barbecue Kitchen, as we talked about. Why they didn't want to play it, yet they actually had one of their better defenses. Though I also don't know how much you can credit their better defenses and rather a lack of coordination from Black Dragons to pick up after that issue with Ask failing to plant the diffuser. As you talked about, it might seem quite small, but ultimately it snowballs.
Yeah, I would say strategically Black Dragons won the previous round, but realistically, Lowe's they won it because they clutched it. So, they didn't seem that confident on that bomb site for Lowe's, but you make it work. You find your success in a different way, and a clutch is a clutch, and a great decision punished by the opponent is, again, it's up to you to make that play correctly.
Still in the discovery phase right now, though. Single member of this low squad is on drones, instead opting to just find their way around the map without the use of those gadgets. Finally, cameraman hops on one. I mean, Los only have 2 drones remaining, so it's not like there's a whole lot of options at their disposal here.
No.
And the most impressive thing is BD's done this without a Solus as well. Drones or no drones, intel be damned. Los find kill number 1. Down goes Loira. Fenrir's gadgets will remain, however, you can't juggle them the way that you could if Fenrir was still alive. 5 of those dread mines scattered throughout the map. You can only activate 3 at a time, and once they're activated, they can be shot, of course. Makes it a bit more of a challenge to figure out where people are coming from as well. Second kill from Maya as Live is active on the score sheet. He's gone. Loban also looking for one. Down goes Patoxy, and suddenly it's Ask, who doesn't have a kill yet and still won't get one, as Loban and Maya pretty much do all the work in that round for Los.
It's an impressive entry of a round, and they're just saving Ask, I guess, for later. Keep that secret weapon in their back pocket in case you ever need it really badly. And I mean, it's an impressive showing given the situation that they're in, but ideally, you really want everyone to be on the board by now. You know, even if you play Monty on attack and you have a couple of, rounds where you play a hard support, after 7 rounds, you should start getting there. Phenomenal attack, though, from Los. And they show off that, yeah, they can defend. They go 3-3. It's perfectly fine, slap dab in the middle. But they can also attack. Bomb set rotations, kind of hard on Skyscraper. You can pretty much start on any of the 3 primary bomb site, of course excluding that bedroom and bathroom bombs that we saw a single time. So whether you want to start tea karaoke on this current office bomb site or barbecue kitchen, it's entirely up to you what you think is better for your team or what you think your opponent is the weakest at attacking. Perhaps Black Dragons chose wrong the first time because they changed it in the second round. And with how one-sided it was, I don't blame him. Might as well change things up. They have Mirror available to them, they choose not to go for it, even though Mirror is often and commonly played on the office bomb site of all places. So we saw Lowe's find their success with that particular operator as well.
Really is a bit puzzling why Ask has been having these struggles. I mean, he didn't play Monty on every single bomb site, and even if you're going to be playing those support operators and you're going to be spending a solid 2 minutes of a round droning, still often win a gunfight or two. I mean, even some of the worst quote-unquote performing supports that we see in this game are typically able to get on the scoreboard. Somebody like Ask, who has the pedigree that he has, a former player on Team Liquid, at one point a very highly touted player in Brazil, and not just Brazil, honestly, but highly touted in the world. You'd expect a better performance than this. There'll be a bit more freedom to play roles that can get you kills on defense. If Ask is unable to pick it up, then I don't really see Black Dragon's success continuing on at the level that it was in the first half. And even then, that success only amounted to 3 of the 6 rounds. In a lot of ways, it was carried by Live's performance, but Stemp had 2 immensely impactful rounds that almost single-handedly credit him with winning those. Neither of those players can carry the weight, then Black Dragon's stock will go down, down, down.
See here, I love when both teams are at the Monty. You can kind of see the difference in how they approach that operator, and the good stuff. Dots takes a bit of damage, but again, he stays up and alive. Stemp now putting himself in the fight, in the battle, looking for the opening kill. Not at all phased at all by the Monty.
First on the board, close. Again, Stemp won, but traded right back. Cannot slow down the mountain as it just moves right in front of him. Live and Stemp, those 2 players that I said have to carry some of that weight, now leave the 3 remaining members of Black Dragons with 5 kills among them through 8 rounds, one of whom, Ask, is yet to find that scoreboard, as we talked about just moments ago. Not exactly the most confidence-inspiring spot to be in. Monty's still up as well. That will be a challenge. Right now, dancing with Loira inside a dragon. Monty just continuing to take up space, not slowing down, and there's no way to impede the Monty at the moment. Maya is there for cleanup once the call is made. Ask hoping to have the cross as Loira looks in the same direction. Like they go on to drones. Lowe's trying to figure out, is there anybody else watching that could potentially pose a problem to us? 25 seconds remaining. Now it's Patoxy to see the Montaigne, who instead of going through Dragon, is forcing a fight through Terrace. Maya still in this spot. The advantage for Los allows them to do this. They can put players wherever they want because they have that advantage. And the advantage will continue on as it's Loira and Patoxy in on the fight. Down goes Dash. Suddenly Black Dragons have the advantage, and Maya finds himself in a 1v2 with no time remaining. As the clock strikes 0, Patoxy gets the kill. And unbelievably, Black Dragons bail themselves out of that round.
Not just Black Dragons, Loira bails them out of that round. I mean, he was so phased by the Munzi early in that round on Statue Dragon. He was always flicking at the Munzi, looking at him. He was running backwards extremely fast, keeping up that fortified position with the shield and the ADSs. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he sprints to the bomb side, shoots the Munzi in the back, vaults through the rotate, kills the ace, and puts his team in a stable position once more, establishing that 2 versus 1 crossfire. And I think Dots did a great job playing Munzi that round. He was always in the enemy's face. You know, when Stemp was trying to fight the 2 team members, one on top of the staircase, one by the main door, or by the, what's it called, like the backstairs door rather, to the outside balcony. Dots also came off the extended shield of Monty, ADS with his pistol, and also joined the fight, putting Stempman from a 1 versus 1 into a 3 versus 1 effectively. So I'm surprised at how it fell apart in the late round. It looked like Dots was looking for where the defenders were playing at, just really carelessly walking through the bomb site, instead of helping his teammates behind him get there with him. Perhaps a change is needed. Dots goes from Monty, a arguably slow operator, onto probably the fastest attacker in the game, Amaru, instead.
Not sure that we've seen any confidence-inspiring Amaru plays today through the 2 matches that we've casted, Nick.
No.
I'm ready for one.
I mean, strategically, they've been fine. Like, the idea of what they wanted to do was great, but the execution was not really capitalized upon that well. So yeah, I want to see Los actually do this successfully. And when you pair the Ying and the Amaru, you create that chaos zone that Amaru can thrive in. Spinners don't know what's happening, they can't quite see, smoking is going off, flashbangs as well. And then Dodge just flies in somewhere. That could be how they stop things off when they're ready to go.
And admittedly, Amaru is a hard operator to play even on your own. And in as well a coordinated environment as these teams are currently competing, there's going to be steps taken, oh my, to stop an Amaru from getting the jump on you. Stemp has been an extraordinary player so far for Black Dragons, who's playing inside a Geisha with the 1.5 on the MPX. Usually good enough for long-range gunfights, but that's not the case when Dash is hitting shots like that. It also frees up Geisha, or so you think. Ask 0 and 6 inside of Geisha now. Maybe it is free.
Maybe it is. I mean, I think the big thing to note here is that it's Warden who dies early while Cameraman is playing Ying, and they know this. They know what operator they killed because they droned out Geisha afterwards, so Cameraman can now get free Terra with those Candelas and see what he can do.
Candela's on the back stairs. Ask breaking the streak in the 9th round, finding his first kill of the match. Suddenly, Black Dragons have 2 for their trouble. Amaru experiment not paying off. I'm still waiting for that good Amaru play. Down goes Dots. Loban is also followed. Live could have another now on back stairs. Ask picks up a second kill. Live finally gets the kill that he had been so patiently waiting for. That's 2 in a row for Black Dragons.
I needed that. Especially Ask. I mean, he can say, whew, I'm not gonna end the game on 0 kills, guys. And it's, I always say that the hardest kill to get in Pro League is your very first. Because once you get a 1 kill, you're not gonna be in your own head about when am I gonna get a kill? I don't want to drop a donut and go 0. I don't want to let my team down myself, etc. And it is very easy to get in your own head as a player. It sounds silly because, oh, just don't get in your head. But it is. And especially because there are so many things in Siege that you have to worry about. Gadgets and drones, getting naded from below, crossfires, where's the enemies? Are they repelling in? What gadgets do they have? Etc, etc, etc. And you gotta win your gunfights. And you gotta communicate accurately. So many things going on. So when you can't find a kill, when things aren't going your way, it's so easy to let that frustration get to you. And it's just not a good thing. Ask gets 2 kills in that round. And he's been changing operators quite frequently. Mostly on the supportive side, playing the Frost, playing the Thermite, playing the Monty, last round on Solus, now finding himself on Smoke, so it might just be that Ask is taking on the yes man hat, saying, whatever operator we need that nobody else wants to play, I will play them. And of course, if you're that kind of player, it's not really about your individual performance necessarily, right? It's about freeing up other people to do their job. But if Live and Stemp as the front players for the team keeps dying early, then Ask for freeing up roles for what seems like no reason at all.
If memory serves me correctly, this is a very comfortable role for Ask on previous teams that he's been on.
It is. It's not a new role for him, but the performance is a bit new on it. And of course, teams, they play around it differently as well, right? I mean, yeah, you can give freedom to your teammates by playing the flex role, but if your teammates aren't utilizing that fact and also helping you succeed when you're needed to, then that's a tall ask. I mean, yeah, Ask plays Thermite, he has the plan, but if the cover isn't there, which it wasn't when he was playing in Barbecue Kitchen, he just died for nothing, you can say, guys, I'm playing Thermite because you don't want to, and you're not covering me on the plant. Like, how are we supposed to succeed here? Whereas if you're playing for Liquid and you're planting, oh, you're getting cover. Don't worry about that.
Right now, toiling outside of the office walls is a Karaoke NT defense. You'll find that when you attack this top bomb site, Geisha is an incredibly important part, map control of pretty much every bomb site on this map. We talk about it at length, especially Kitchen and, of course, Karaoke T, but defenders like to extend outwards here. Because if you don't take control of Geisha, you don't also get Drum. You don't get the cross. You don't get anything, really. Stemp has been dying a little bit too early for my liking. That's 4 rounds in a row where Los have gotten that very first kill. There's been no answer back from Black Dragons.
Yeah, Stemp was having a great time on attack, and he played Ana to great success. Now playing Warden, dying first every single round, and these smoke grenades from Los are being used to effect almost every single round. Flashbangs to boot as well, 5 of those in pocket still. And with 50 seconds left, they can set it up, establish where the attack is going to be coming from and when, and then just go, go, go.
Eyes deceive me. It is actually a Karaoke and T defense. Lyra on the board, cameraman gunning now. Down goes Ask. Those 2 kills in the previous round being very important, but Black Dragons just losing out in their duels. Patoxy in a 1v2. Black Dragons winning 2 rounds in a row. Patoxy was in a good spot, but Loban gets the drop on him. I-5. These teams so evenly matched.
First half ended 3-3. No clear winner. And so far after 4 rounds on the second half, well, they won 2 each as well here. It is going to be as close of a Skyscraper game as any, but for a good reason. Normally we see Skyscraper being very one-sided towards the defense typically, as we saw at Old Theme Park, etc. But this is just an even Skyscraper, period. Both teams so far gotten an even number of attacks and defending round victories, just means they simply are even matched 1-to-1. It's not about what side they're on, what bomb side they're on. We've even seen all 4 bomb sides being played from Los. Still yet to see the photo from Black Dragons, but it's still early on the defensive side. They still got time to show it if they want to, but it's a good match at that. I do wish Black Dragons were more willing to change the operators around. They've been forcing the same kind of lineup at very minor changes. Only really Ask changing it around between Frost, Smoke, etc. I would love to see the Mirror in action here. I would love to see some more Waldenite, like the Kai, to force out a Thatcher maybe more often, etc. They don't have any way to stop the Monty in this round. Yeah, sure, they got a 1C4, but they have no Smoke, they have no Lesion, they have no Echo. I feel like Black Dragons are making this a bit harder than it has to be, simply due to the fact that they seem a bit stubborn on what operators they should be playing or that they're willing to play. Because attacker repick is a thing. Attackers, if they have joined Intel in prep phase, they will always pick the perfect lineup that they feel like they want based off Intel. Whereas defenders, you kind of need to spread yourself like pretty thin, where you want to prepare for as many scenarios as possible without knowing what the actual outcome is going to be. That's because you pick operators first before attacker repick, of course.
My favorite round in all of Rainbow Six. No matter who wins, they go on a match point. Exciting stuff. All 12 guaranteed. Not a surprise. Again, we talked about the parity between these teams. The pre-show, or I guess this would be the pre-match conversation that we had. E1 versus Vivo went all 12, so why not have Los and BD do the same? On paper, the next match should be the match of the day, which is Liquid versus W7M. Hard to imagine it doesn't go all 12 rounds.
Oh yeah. Unless W7M they pull an E1 on Liquid and just somehow 7-2 them. That was a big surprise in the first play day. I would say that this 5-5 scoreline is equally as surprising because, you know, both teams had a very one-sided match to start things off. Los, of course, losing 0-7 and Black Dragons winning 7-0. Now they're very evenly matched. Monty keeps being brought up by Dots of Los' side. And it was also on this last office attack where it did a great job at the roam clear and that mid-round clear as well on Dragon and the Terrace. Right here we saw Laura struggle last time, but the bombs that execute became problematic for Los when the Monty fell early on the execute. Laura clutched out for his team.
There's 2 players holding this angle, and Dots is going to give information for that. There's a single reinforcement on the back of Dragon that leads into Terrace that you need to be wary of. You can see Dash repositioning over to that spot. Lawyer hears the shield go down. Could swing. Stemp there as well, but Stemp is a way out with the rotate through the wall. Maya could capitalize off of this. Nobody moving a muscle. This actually works out quite well for Black Dragons. The longer that you wait, the more that you delay, the better you will be served in the final moments of this round. As we saw previously, the Monty circling around, going through Drum and Terrace, outdueled by Patoxy. First kill goes to Black Dragons, a second added to it as well. 10 seconds left, and there's going to be some panic now setting in on the side of Los. Live Nitro selling Ask. That's not how it's supposed to go, but makes up for it by gunning down Cameraman. Now it's dash to drop. Loban dies as the clock was going to hit 0. It was a formality at that point. Round no matter what. Going to the defense. But kill happens either way. Black Dragons on match point.
You gotta feel bad for Ask. I mean, we've been talking about his performance and like losing gunfights, and he starts doing okay again. He gets C4'd by a teammate, right? And yeah, individually it sucks, but Black Dragons still won the round. They recognize that time was an issue for Los. As long as Black Dragons don't run around too much and give them those opening duels and they lose Stemp or Live early in the round, they're fine. And while that's been kind of cooking up the last couple of rounds, Loira actually really stepping up on the defensive half, on Fenrir, finding value time and time again, stalling for time, not overstepping, activating the right gadgets, moving those around, and just overall Black Dragons did a good read. Despite not playing Valkyrie for intel, they did have a really good idea of exactly where the attack was coming from, and Dodson Monty was forced into an ADS position where he removed the shield and tried to go for the kill instead, and of course, Hazel versus primary weapon of a defender, you usually lose those gunfights, as Dots just did in that previous one. Timeout was taken. Both teams could discuss with their support staff of what they think the issues are. Operator-wise, I was going to say it looks the same, but all of a sudden it's completely blown to pieces because we see Ash and Blackbeard being shown. Of course, with a Tiger repick, that's likely going to change. I don't think Blackbeard's the answer that we need here.
Yeah, I'm, well, okay. Immediately swap. You have the full, you have effectively the full prep phase to swap off of Blackbeard. Though it would have been interesting to see Blackbeard with a DMR on Repel on some of these windows. You can absolutely do some damage. Not to mention the fact that changes to caliber-based destruction involving those DMRs, Nick. You can destroy walls and hatches so much easier now. You see Dokkaebi do it when she's played quite frequently. You see Buck do it when he runs that Cammers. Or the KMRS, however you choose to pronounce it.
Yeah. The Cammers, I think.
Yeah. Very typical lineup for Black Dragons on defense. Nothing outside of the ordinary. Fenrir being a staple for these teams. A lot of very narrow doorways that you need to go through. And as you've seen from Los's executes, they keep swapping it up. You don't really get an anti-flank operator on defense the same way that the attackers get a Grim or a Nomad or a Gridlock. Or even Claymores. But
that's true.
You do have access to somebody like Fenrir who can use those dread mines in areas where the moment that somebody walks through, you gain information. Please don't tell me this is happening on the very final round.
Now, this is the challenge for you as a caster, how experienced you are. A cast with that CCTV camera feed in your face.
You notice that they changed the drone death animation again, right?
They did, yeah.
Yep, it looks good now.
I like the proactivity around it. I know there's some community feedback there. People weren't too happy necessarily. Change is always hard.
Yes, it is.
Big audience.
1 minute off of the round. Black Dragons prove all of us right and seal the deal. Los coming far closer than I think some of us expected. Well, Black Dragons will have to do it down by 1. I don't know what Live was thinking. Getting punished by Loban is maybe not what the plan was. We've got Stemp as follow-up inside of Geisha. That's not the way it's supposed to go. Stemp is usually the first one to die. What are you doing? You missed out.
Oh, they're just fighting for that title right now, but it's the wrong title to be fighting for, because instead of who dies first, you try who gets the first kill. Now, it's risky play here. Laura follows up, and these long lines of sight. Oh my days. With the holo as well. Okay, Laura wants to win.
Some kind of magic with that MP7, isn't it? Could Maya be the next one to go? How many more can Laura get? They'll be nearsighted. Laura just needs to wait and allow Maya to walk into Drum. You can see the mine above the door. Maya might not know what's waiting for him. He has maybe some kind of sixth sense as to a player inside a Drum. Maybe they think he's on stairs. There goes a grenade. Fishing, it misses. And then you got cameraman, who is quite far off of the execute.
Oh.
Vaulting in, taking out the frost mat. Patoxy knows that. Fires a bit too early. Now it's Dots up backstairs, but the TCSG can absolutely punish you. Ask in desperate attempts will manage to get the down and the diffuser too. That's it. They clean up. Black Dragons getting all the kills that they need and sealing the deal. Close attempt for Los, but 7-5 the scoreline for the second match in a row. Congratulations to Black Dragons.
Absolutely, but that's a fight for it, and like quite a lot of that. As looked really shaky, even that